affirmative action on minorities, law on religious organizations are the laws, those laws that I'm the most proud in for the last period of our recent history. So what I want to say at the end is that without profound modification of our society, all institutional changes will stay without any effect. Now, two major policies of our governments when we talk about European integration are the negotiations on visa-free and on deep and comprehensive free trade agreement. These two agreements, when it will become reality, will have a very strong impact on our society. It will make irreversible changes, and I hope that very much irreversible changes on our society. And it will crush, or it will contribute to crush the ethnic nationalism and religious intolerance in our society. It will give a serious blow to these two tendencies that still exist in our country. And last thing, the very last thing, our government tries and made some success in shaping and making of pluralistic elites in this country. When I'm talking about pluralistic elites, I'm not only talking about social origins, and they are quite diverse, but also geographical origins of our elites. I have people from monarchy here sitting, but they can't imagine that under Soviet Union, especially the last years of the Soviet Union, our country, the elite of our country was more homogeneous than the elites of a centuries-old monarchy like the UK. In the first years of our independence, since the end of the Soviet Union, it was the same. The post-Soviet elite was very uniform, without not people from the same social origin, same generation, sometimes coming from same schools, one or two schools, same streets of this town. In 2003, 2004, we had two choices. First choice is to remain elitist, and you cannot remain elitist for long. You cannot be together very democratic and elitist, or you have to defend against people having very strong repression, or you will have very strong contestation. You will have a very strong contestation on a social basis, like communism, like the South American countries had in 70s or 80s, or to adopt a European model which is based on the integration of the less educated, of the less powerful, of the less wealthy people. So we reduced poverty in this country in 10 years, in 9 years, from 50% to 25%. It's still a huge figure. In most of developed European countries, this figure goes from 10 to 15%. But this is our last, maybe very strong challenge, to integrate these people, to show them they are not good just to be considered as a flock, or to be nurtured by extremist ideologies or to be bought by very unsophisticated attempts and by to be bribed in a very unsophisticated manner. So, sorry, my speech was very long. I didn't speak a lot about ENP and about the ambitions of ENP, but first of all, it's our goal as Georgian society to be ready to be really European. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. It's very positive to hear that your government is so committed to carrying out these often difficult reforms and deepening relations with the EU, working to improve democracy in Georgia, and I'm sure that the upcoming elections in the country are really going to act as a litmus test for assessing how democratic development in Georgia is going. Before I turn to the floor, I'm going to ask Mr. David Darashvili, I hope that wasn't a totally bad pronunciation, who is chairman of the Parliamentary Committee on European Integration, to intervene and say a few words So where are you, David? There you are.
Actually, I was going to make it anyway, or just ask the question. You know, the European neighbourhood policy is a good thing. It's a practical format of interaction with the European Union. When it then further developed into Eastern Partnership, it gave us new impetus and new stimulus and new hopes to reach deep and comprehensive free trade, to have an association agreement which gives us a sense, assurance that we are somehow attached to the European family of nations, not only just in our dreams, but also civilizationally, culturally, and partially institutionally. But of course, these initiatives have their limits. And when I was listening to you concerning social transformation, how it can be really promoted from the outside, and we are experiencing this transformation as turning an outline, and sometimes it could be also perceived as a clash of civilizations within Georgian society. And we are going through that. But being a small country, we are of course susceptible to outside influences. And while the European Union promotes itself through soft power, here is Russia with hard power. And using this hard power also to interfere into internal affairs and promote the civilization which we want to transform. I mean, the elements of which Dominic outlined, clannish relations, influence of organized crime, corruption, and so on and so forth. That's what Russia, besides taking territories, is promoting here in Georgia. And sometimes the problem is that these tendencies are masked with democratic rhetoric, with NGO kind of structures, but when you scratch this rhetoric, which now is learned by everybody, then you see something different. But the European Union here comes only with the soft power, and sometimes in the situations we find ourselves, soft power should be balanced with some elements of hard power. I do not mean just European Union military bases here and something like that, but I mean checking on the principal level the influence or interference from neighboring big brother. And is the European Union always ready to do it? Sometimes no. And it's a reality. It slows down the process of Georgian transformation in the social terms of otherwise, but that's the reality. So basically, the soft power activities, how they correlate with hard power traditional things like sovereignty, territorial integrity, respect for international law, and the defense of the international law. If they do not correlate at all, then the project might not fail but slow down. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm now going to... Okay, so let's start on this side. So we have two hands. The gentleman at the back, who's holding the pencil. Yes.
I'm a Georgian citizen, and if this government is so committed to the European values, how do you explain the fact that I'm so afraid to express my political views, and there's like so many thousand people like me, if you're so committed to that? So basically what I'm saying here, you've been saying that you're like committed to the European values, that includes the freedom of expression, and how do you explain the fact that thousands of people like me, are afraid to publicly express their, political...
You're afraid right now?
Yes, I'm afraid. I'm afraid to say my name, and there are lots of people like me. I just would appreciate if you would speak about the problems more, and less about, the things, you'd like to do. I just need a simple explanation. Thank you very much.
Yes, my name is Katia Kuchidze, and I work for the Ministry of Justice of Georgia. I have a small comment and a question, please, to our speakers. So, when we talk about the ENP and the social transformation within the countries of the ENP, the role of the governments is really important in this regard, because the same policy can be translated in very different ways by different governments. So it's very important how they communicate these policies to their people and how do they use these policies for the change in their countries. And as I have outlined the role of the government, I'd like to ask, actually, what is the role of the government in the social transformation, and from where should actually the social transformation come from? And how can a policy like ENP or any other one reach out directly to the people? Because I think that their role is also very important, and the social transformation should also, in some regards, come from the society and just from the government. So that would be my question. Thank you.
So, the gentleman is scared. I'm really sorry for you, because I don't think we have people here, I'm sure, with very different political views, very different views on everything. And I hope for them that they are not scared. And I hope I don't look really scared. It's not easy to answer this question, because we have in this country, I don't know how many political parties, I don't know how many NGOs, how many, sometimes even very radically opposing NGOs and political groups to government. They have access to, I don't know, 3 days ago, like 40 people were in the streets of Tbilisi. Do you think they were really scared? So it's just not serious. Let's try to fight against the fear we have in ourselves. The problem is inside of each person, maybe, and to one of the reasons we still have problems, and we are not 100% European society, is maybe because people think and then anticipate something, and they are scared to say something because their parents, their grandparents, they have told them that, you know, in ancient times it was quite difficult to express their views. And maybe in recent years of Georgia also it was quite difficult to express it. So I don't think, and it's really, I don't think that the majority of people would agree with you, or even if somebody else agreed with you on this. And of course, you made your statements, nobody attacked you, but I take your comment as a comment of expression of plurality of views. Some people are scared, some people are scared of everything, some people are scared of nothing, so it's plurality. About government's role, of course, I agree with you that government's role is not everything. And when we are talking about society and social transformation, that means that it's also up to the society society, and society is a term which is very difficult to define. Of course, it's what is society? We can have hours of debates about the capacity of the society to organize itself or to make changes. The role of the government is to allow the maximum of freedom, the maximum of to protect those who are weak, who are minorities, who may be attacked or ill-treated by others, and to permit the tolerance and the acceptance of each other, and to promote the ideals of plurality. Then the society should take this opportunity and go further.
Yeah, just a quick thing on the government. I partly agree with what Dominika said. I come from Central Europe, from Slovakia. Like, our experience with all the social transformation from above, with communism or before that fascism, didn't go well. I'm allergic to anything that smells of, the government trying to engineer a change. I think the role for the government is basically let the society develop, as long as it doesn't interfere with individual human rights, political rights, or the security of the country. Just let it go. I don't think that true social transformation can come from government. I have one comment on David's comments about the EU and hard power and soft power. EU is not a hard power player. It will never be. The hardest power Georgia can get from the EU is the EU military mission, and that's where we stop. No, it's. I mean, and that's already quite. I mean, quite helpful.